YouTube, it's Evilswarm here with a Banlist prediction video for you guys. Now, just to note, I haven't actually played properly in the meta for almost 6 months, so I've got no real idea of what the meta can really be like, but I've kept up with it and I've dueled some of these decks online on DevPro and on Dueling Network and everything, and you know, I've kept up to date with what's been going on in the meta, so I have an idea of what's going on and everything. So I'm just going to give you my thoughts and opinions on what in the top meta decks should be hit or something, and then I'll move on to the actual ban list itself and obviously go through what I personally think could come off, could be semi-limited, etc. So I hope you guys enjoy. So, only a month to go now until the actual ban list comes out. Well, first off, there's 3 main decks that I know of that are mainly used, and that's of course the Dragon Rulers, Prophecy, to some extent Evilswarms as well, as the anti-meta deck. There's also been some like Modultri decks making up to the top tier in a few cases, but not really doing well enough to actually make an impact, sadly, even though they're a pretty awesome deck. So I think we'll start off with everybody's favourite, which is Dragon Rulers, since everybody seems to really hate them, and well, here we go. The first thing I would say definitely is more than likely limit the baby forms of the dragons, just because before the baby forms actually came out, Dragon Rulers wasn't as good as it was today. If you hear any funny noises, that's my dog Zip over there, she's just panting away there. Before the baby dragons came out anyway, the elemental dragons only made up like what, under half the decks that were used in Japan. The rest was magical and heretics and stuff like that, because they didn't have any real good ways of searching out their forms and everything. However, as soon as the baby forms were introduced, the deck just exploded, and now nearly 3/4 of the decks you see in meta are pretty much Dragon Ruler, and the rest are Prophecy, with maybe 1%, if you like, the circle being like rogue decks and stuff like that, or Evilswarm or something. So I would definitely say limit the babies, because that would severely hinder the deck. Semi wouldn't do it, to be honest, just because you would still have a lot of options, but limiting would severely dim down the deck's search power anyway, and also the ability to remove stuff from the graveyard and get their effects going in that sense. Another card that is probably more than likely going to return back to the list is Gold Sarcophagus, because most Dragon Rulers use about 2 or 3, so more than likely it could either get semied, which would dim the power down a wee bit, or more likely they could even limit it entirely to really dumb down the Dragon Rulers deck. Another card that is more than likely going to be hit could be Super Rejuvenation. Now, a lot of people have said it's a very, very old card that never saw any play at all from a bygone era, and hence why it's so overpowered with the Dragon Rulers, because it's got pretty much no limitations on it and it works so well with the Dragon Rulers. Now, I can understand that, so I would not be surprised if that gets limited to 1. Just because it is overpowered and it really does help the Dragon Rulers, so again it would really severely cripple the deck in that sense. Or they could even ban it entirely, just because it could be too OP. But then again, it is quite hard to get because it hasn't seen very many reprints, and so in a way it's a kind of profit card, so it could get banned, it could be limited, don't know. Another thing I've heard about is some people are saying, you know, why not semi all the big dragons as well? And I can understand that. I can understand that to an extent. It would slim down the deck even more, and you know, make you want to be a bit more careful about how you use your dragons. But I highly doubt that will work. It will be more than likely, it will be actually limiting or semi-limiting the baby dragons, just because they're the ones that search out the elemental dragons, and they're the ones that actually really kick off the deck to most extents. I don't think Big Eye or Draco Sack will be touched, to be honest, because, well, one, they are very expensive cards, and of course Konami doesn't want to lose money on profit cards that, you know, make them profit and everything. And besides, before Dragon Rulers came into play, you know, Big Eye and Draco Sack of Dragon Rulers weren't around, probably would not have been played very much, because there's not very many good level 7s out there to really use with the with those cards, unless of course you had unless you were using something like Dark Magician or Red Eyes Black Dragon, I suppose, just as an example there. So I think that'll be that for Dragon Rulers. The next big deck is Prophecy. Now, I haven't had very much experience against Prophecy, but I do have an understanding of how the deck works and everything, and I have dueled it maybe a couple of times on Duel Network. I think the first thing that would happen would be either they might limit or ban the Spellbook of Judgment altogether, just because it's really OP. As soon as you get that in your hand, in an opening hand or something, you've pretty much, apparently you've pretty much got game with it, because it allows you to special summon quite a high level monster, and it searches out a lot of the spell books as well. So any card that searches out anything in a deck really well, really quickly and effectively, more than likely 9 times out of 10 does get hit by the ban list, just from past experience looking at things like that. Like, look at Dragonfly and Hornet. They were out for one season and they were the big searchers, and they're the ones that got limited when that happened. More than likely also they could limit or semi-limit the Spellbook of Eternity, because it adds back magic card spellbooks back from the graveyard, I think it is. I think it's the graveyard, I could be wrong on that. So getting back your Judgment, easy, repeat the process again, just go through your deck like a lightning bolt and you've pretty much got game there again. Another card that could possibly be hit with the Prophecy is the Spellbook of Magician. Spellbook Magician. It could be semied or limited again, because when it's normal summoned it can add a spellbook from the deck to the hand. So again, it's a searcher. Just from general things, anything that searches out really good cards and gets combos going and helps you win games 1 and 2 quite good, often get hit by the ban list. As I said, with the Insectors it was Hornet and Dragonfly, because they searched out each other pretty much all the time. What else was there? With the wind-ups it was Wind Up Shark, Wind Up Magician, and then Wind Up Zen Carrier. Was it Zenmite or Zen Carrier? One of those two, I can't remember which its name at the moment. But all the searchers that really get combos going and overpower the deck, they tend to get hit by the ban list. So more than likely that sort of thing will happen with the with those two main decks. However, knowing Konami, they're probably going to throw in a couple of twists. They might add in something that we won't expect. For example, say they could decide to limit High Priestess. I highly doubt that, to be honest, because there's quite a few spellbook builds I've seen that use High Priestess, some don't. It's all different taste and everything, but this is Konami we're talking about. They'll probably throw us a few surprises with us in that sense. With Evilswarm, the only card, now I haven't dueled against this deck and I don't know this deck very well, but I've heard a lot about Ophion, Evilswarm Ophion, which is the rank 4 monster that stops the special summon of level 5 and higher monsters. Now, a lot of people are saying like ban Ophion or limit Ophion or something. To be honest, I don't think it'll be touched, just because, well, one, it's an anti-meta deck, yes, but it doesn't really, it's not doing as well as Prophecy or Dragon Rulers. And since Ophion's the only problem card in the whole deck, and since it's not, it can get into relatively easy, but not as easy as the combos for Dragon Rulers and Prophecy, so more than likely it won't get touched. If it does, it probably will get semied, more than likely, or limited. More than likely semied, could be limited, I don't know, I don't really know because I haven't had much experience against them. So anyway, that's it I have for the 3 main decks of this meta. Again, as I said, there has been a few times where Modolchi has done quite well, and I like Modolchis. I think they're a cool deck archetype, but sadly I don't think they'll be hit by the ban list, just because, well, they've not made that much of an impact, but they've shown that they can do pretty well. But if they do make an impact next round, next format, you know, you never know. What I think could be coming back next format is definitely going to be the Mermails, if Dragon Rulers and Prophecy get really hit badly, because Mermails were pretty much dominant, and so were Firefists actually, now that I think about it. Mermails and Firefists will more likely come back next format if these decks do get hit, because before these decks did come out and get really broken with their new cards, Firefists and Mermails were pretty much the top decks that everybody played. So it's interesting, but we'll have to wait and see what happens when Konami actually officially announces it. Right, I'm just going to have a look at the actual ban list over here, so forgive me if I keep concentrating over here. It's just because, obviously, ban list. So, having a look at banned, what would I like to come off the ban list? Well, well, I can say for certain that Sangan won't be coming off the ban list. Definitely not, because Tour Guide, I have to admit, has gone down in price ever since Sangan got banned, and I haven't seen much of Tour Guide being used, so which means it could possibly become unlimited. I'm not too sure about that though, but Sangan will definitely be staying on the ban list just because it, you know, if it was out now, how dangerous do you think Dragon Rose would have been? You know, get rid of Tour Guide with the Sangan effects and everything, and you've basically got yourself even more access to more of the baby dragons and all that, or even the spell books as well. That would be scary. What else? I don't think any of the synchros or the Exceed will come back either, just because they were just too, even though they were slower than these decks nowadays, I think they were just still too broken. Future Fusion, I highly doubt that, just because it would make Chaos Dragons and Elemental Heroes come back with a vengeance, to be honest. I don't know. If I'm to be absolutely honest with you guys, I don't think there's anything on the ban list that could possibly come off. I mean, of course, again, the only thing I would like to see come off is Chaos Emperor Dragon, because I think it's a cool dragon. I would like it to come off, but that would make this game far too broken, unfortunately. But I highly doubt anything's going to come off, sadly, from the ban list. I mean, I could be wrong. Something might come off the ban list. I don't know. But we'll just have to wait and see. But I personally don't think I can see anything at the moment coming off the ban list. Blackluster Soldier, and for the beginning, I think will stay limited because it hasn't seen much play. I haven't seen it used a lot in a lot of the decks, because most of these decks don't use light and dark monsters. The attributes of the monsters are all over the place now. So, Blackwings. I would like to see the Blackwing cards like Gale the Whirlwind and the other one. What's it called? Black Whirlwind come off, because at least go to Semied, because Blackwings were a cool deck archetype and they have not been seen for a year and a half, 2 years now, maybe even more, and that's a bit sad because they were a really good archetype and they're pretty cool, but now they've just kind of faded out of existence really within the meta. What else? I think Honest will definitely be staying at 1 as well, especially with the Judgment of the Light coming out with all the new fairy support that's been going on, such as the Angel of Zera. I mean, that's just going to give agents a real good boost. Wonderful. Insector Dragonfly and Insector Hornet. I would like to see at least 1 or 2 of those come off into Semied maybe, because Insectors to an extent are still good, but a lot of people don't play them nowadays, sadly. They could possibly be Semied, I don't know. Else. I think another card I'd like to see come off and go Semied at least is Plague Spreader Zombie, because it was a good card for synchros, and since everybody's using Exceeds right at the moment and only a few synchros, it could potentially come off. I mean, I know there's new synchros coming out in the new set very, very soon, but I think that would really help the Plague Spreader anyway. Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, I think is definitely going to stay limited. If it goes Semied, I'll be surprised, because then it'll give Chaos Dragons and that a bit of a boost. But as you guys know, I will never run it myself because, well, I just don't want to. You know, I prefer, to be all in honesty, I prefer like Kaiba Man, Ancient Rules, Totem Dragon over Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. But said it could stay limited. If it goes Semied, then we could see a comeback of Chaos Dragons, or it could even give if the Dragon Rulers get badly hit with their babies and they get Semied or something, then this could definitely give them a wee boost as well, in that sense, so they won't be completely dead, but we don't know yet. I mean, I think Red Eyes Darkness is actually used in a few builds of Dragon Rulers, but most of the time, from looking, I haven't seen a Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon. I could be wrong, it's probably just a few builds, but don't know. I think the wind-ups would again stay limited, to be honest, because they're still a good deck. They're not as quick as, of course, again, the Dragon Rose and Prophecy and all that, but they're still a very good annoying deck, to be honest. What else? TG Striker or Tech Gen Striker, that could possibly come off because it's not been, well, none of the Tech Gen cards are getting used except for maybe Hyper Librarian. But again, with Formula Synchro and Hyper Librarian, if there's rumours going around that Shooting Quasar Dragon could get a release in the tins, apparently. Don't quote me on this, this is just something I've heard. If that does, I highly doubt they would unlimit semi-Formula Synchron or the TG Hyper Librarian, because that would just mean easy access to a shooting Quasar, and I don't think anybody would want that. Another card I would like to see at least semied would be Book of Moon, just because it's a quick play magic that can protect you quite easily. It's a very good card, and I would like to see more of it, because especially how some people like to use like 3 Forbidden Lance, 3 Chalice, or Forbidden Dress or something. Book of Moon was probably the best card before then, but it could possibly stay limited, but it's just such a good card against like Dragon Rulers, and Dragon Rulers themselves use it as protection from attacks and stuff like that, so I'd like to see that go to 2 because it'd be a bit more versatile. What else? Limiter removal, doubt it. Foolish Burial. Again, because Future Fusion is banned, I would like to see Foolish Burial at least come to 2, because that would help a lot of decks out that rely on sending stuff to the graveyard. I mean, for example, my deck, it would make some cards in my deck much easier to access if they were sent to the graveyard, such as Whitestone of Legend and everything. Monster Reborn, I think, will definitely stay limited. More than likely. One Day of Peace, I think, will probably stay limited just because it was too good with a lot of cards. 1 for 1, I think, will definitely stay limited because, especially with the Blue Eyes structure deck I was getting released in there, it would make like Blue Eyes decks very fast anyway. But that would just, I think it could be overpowered if it was to be semied for the Blue Eyes and everything. Pot of Braveries, I think, will definitely stay at 1 because it's just being able to reuse half the monsters in the decks that I've mentioned, you know, that's never a good thing. What else? Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment, I think, will definitely stay limited, more than likely, just because they're not used as much now, so one of them could potentially become semied, more than likely Warning. If it does, I will go off my nut because I hate that card with a passion. I wouldn't be surprised if Warning does go to 2 again, but I doubt it, because even if it's limited, some people will use a Judgment and a Warning, and that's enough to tip a duel, basically. What else? Ultimate Offering, I think, will stay limited, definitely. Semi-limited, Archlord Christia should definitely stay limited, and if the Judgment of the Light expansion with fairies and their light support really help agents come back again, more than likely it will go limited in the next format. Because I just don't like Christia. It just shuts down all my special summons of dragons, and it just annoys the heck out of me. Card Trooper, I think, will definitely stay limited. It's not really used much, I think, except for, of course, when it was used in Chaos Dragons. Debris Dragon, I think, will more than likely stay semied as well. It could become unlimited because, well, people don't use it a lot for synchros anymore, to be honest. At the moment, anyway. Reborn Tengu could possibly stay semied. It might come off the ban list because it's not really been used. Rescue Rabbit, more than likely will stay semied as well, even though not many people are using Rescue Rabbit decks and everything. Agent of Mystery Earth should stay semied, definitely, because don't want agents to come back. Thunder King Ryo, I think, will stay semied as well, just because it's too good. It could even be limited, but again, I haven't really seen it used a lot in main decks. Tour Guide, as I said, it could potentially become 3 if Sangan stays banned, and more than likely Sangan will stay banned. So if Tour Guide goes up to 3, that's cool. If not, then if it stays semied, then Tour Guide's got some other cards it can search out. It's got Night Assailant, it's got Brow, I think it is, from the Dark World. It's one of the Dark World cards, I can't remember its name. And it's also got Turbus to use as well, if so. Tsukiyomi, I wouldn't be surprised if that goes to 3 because it's just not been used at all. I've not seen anybody use it, so more than likely it could potentially go to 3. A Hero Lives, I could stay semied. I haven't seen very many Element Hero decks, even in Japan, in the OCG, so that could possibly stay semied, don't know. What else? Emergency Call, Emergency Call and Hieratic Seal could possibly stay semied, because if the Dragon Rulers and that do get hit, there's a possibility that the E-Heroes definitely, and Hieratics and Fire Fists and the Mermills and that could be making a comeback, more than likely. Of course, if the Dragon Rulers and the Prophecy get really, really badly hit. Pot of Duality I think will stay semied because it's too good, and again in these decks they're not really used a lot in these decks because with Dragon Rulers you want to special summon as much as possible and not lock yourself down out of that, and the same with Prophecy, you want to use as many of your spell books as you can to special summon out as much as you can, so more likely it could stay limited. If it goes if it does get unlimited, that might be a bit of a silly thing, especially with the other decks I've mentioned, like the Heretics and that, Element Heroes and that, because that just helped them really get their decks going, to be honest. What else? Bottomless Trap Hole and Mirror Force and Torrential Tribute I think could possibly stay semied, more than likely, just because, well, they're all too good. I'll be very, very surprised if Mirror Force or Torrential go to 3, because that would just be like OP in the next format, that's all I can say. I think that's everything, guys. I can't think of anything else to say. I'm just having a quick look through the ban list, the banned part of the ban list, just to see if there was anything else I wanted to come off. But to be honest, I don't think I can see anything that will come off, because all these cards, pretty much most of these cards now, are banned for a good reason. And what about like Monster Reborn and Dark Hole and Heavy Storm? Well, they have been used, but I don't think they'll get touched. I'll be very surprised if they do, but I highly doubt it, because most duelists now don't use Heavy Storm, Dark Hole or Monster Reborn unless they absolutely have to, because most of the time the Dragon's Effect, well, not the Dragon's Effects, the Monster's Effect often have these sort of things built into them. Like Blaster can destroy, from the Dragon Rules can destroy cards, and Redox is a Monster Reborn, and what else, like, is it Tempest that returns stuff to the hand? I'm not too sure, something like that anyway. Same with some of the Prophecy cards, that some of the Prophecy cards can do something similar apparently, but I don't know. Anyway, I think that's it for this ban list. This is just my thoughts and opinions on what could possibly happen, but this is coming from, but remember guys, this is coming from someone who hasn't played in this meta, but I have kept up to date with it, so I understand what's going on. So it's an outsider's view basically. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed. If you want, I would like to know what your thoughts and opinions are. Post it in the comments below, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye!